along? I suppose the last time I spoke to you, you were new into the hot seat. You've had 2 months in there now. How's things gone?
A very quick 2 months. It's hard to believe I say that's the last time speaking to you. It's been busy, but good, and now we're looking forward to next Saturday night to get going in the league. I suppose the initial stage was getting the squad together, getting the management team in place, and get to start coaching. But fortunately now we've been going out from the start in December. We missed a bit last week, but the weather wasn't great. But generally things have been going pretty good so far.
I suppose when I did speak to you, you were excited. You were looking forward to getting to meet the boys and get the boys out. So you've done that now, and have they all settled in pretty well?
Yeah, but what I have noticed about them is a really, really good attitude among the players. You know, they're open to learning. They're open to change as well. They understand that this new game is going to demand a lot of change to the way they probably played previously for their clubs and for the county, and they're open to that. So we're getting a really good response, and everything we're putting in so far in terms of fitness work or conditioning work, whether it's on the pitch and coaching, analysis, they really are responding. So it seems to be a really good learning environment at the moment. The backroom team are all working hard, and really we don't know until the first match. That's the thing about it. We did a few games this league, but the signs are good so far. So I'm just hoping that come Saturday week we'll get a performance together.
That's where I'm going down this new road, this new game we're expecting now in the opening of the league. You've had a couple of challenge matches, as you've mentioned there, a couple of games. So how have you felt with the new rules? How have they gone in? Is it a lot of learning?
There's a lot of change. The game itself is just a lot of things happen in the game that we have to adapt to quickly. The 3 players up to about 1 week, keeping 3 players on the other side of the half, and then we've been caught in challenge matches. The teams we played against have also been caught. That's taking time. That's one of the changes that really is a lot in the game. The solo and goals a big change, and the game speeds the game an awful lot. We're still getting the grips with the most effective way how we can use that to our advantage. Another one is that there's a high concentration now on the kickouts. The kickouts, all teams are going to press the goalie as often as possible. It's just going to force a lot more kickouts to the middle. So finding possession around the middle is harder now because there's a lot more balls crashing around the middle. There's a lot more break ball. Time of the year, wet conditions, balls being dropped and balls being broken. So it is becoming really exciting in terms that when the ball was in there, you know, getting to your advantage is difficult, but we're working through various plays and systems, and hopefully helps do that.
So what do we expect in the league then? You're kind of, every county has probably had a couple of challenge games, but you haven't had that pre-season tournament that would have been a huge benefit to you all this year.
Above all years, I think we mentioned it's the first day out, and to be honest with you, since that I've realised this was not the year to take it away. I think for everybody, I think definitely for the players, for the officials that are having to referee the games, those 3 games will be really, really good for them. But also maybe at the end of the 3 matches, they may have said, hold on a minute here, we need to tweak a couple of these things, or they may have been, you know, I know in the way they set this up is that a caveat after round 2 to review it. I think that review could have been done through a pre-season competition. So we would have into the league on a sure footing. It may have made more changes at the end of the league, but at least you will into the league knowing this is what's going to happen for a while. But now we know that in 2 weeks' time, or say 2 or 3 weeks' time, they're going to review what's going on in the first 2 matches. And to be honest, I think that's not good enough for these level of players that are committing to play football, and for the officials that are committing to officiate in these matches. I think that's quite poor. I think that should have been all sorted out before it. So I do feel that we are going to be blind here, and there's going to be results are going to go either way for certain all over Ireland matches, and it may come down to a decision or two that players aren't completely sure of, or even referees aren't completely sure of. So I think it's not a great way to go into the start of the league.
Is there a fear that it'll take away from the game, take away from the league, because the league has been so competitive over the years that all the focus is going to be kind of on the new rules, and games, as you mentioned, could be decided by mistakes because of these new rules? Yeah,
without doubt. I think that this league's going to be very different. The National League competition, I've always felt that it's been fantastic, because it's, say, you get top teams in Ireland in Division 1, and the next 8 are in Division 2 and so forth, 3 and 4. So the teams are very well matched. And the National League games over the years they've been a spawning ground for young players to come through to show what they can do, but it's also highly competitive. Like especially the games where teams want to stay in maintain their status, or in Division 1, or push for promotion in Division 2 or 3 and 4, or to avoid the relegation. So the league has been really good. This year, nobody really knows. So it really is a lot up for grabs. But I do think the players are intelligent, and the level of sort of coaching intelligence out there, you'll see that after a few months things may be better.
So the fitness levels going to even have to be high?
Without doubt. That's another area where the game now, because of there's more space, the game now is it's much more expansive. What I've saw so far is like defending is harder. There's that more one-to-one space for players to run into. Attacking's more space for forwards to go into, but they're going to have to run further distances to get the ball. And then in the middle 8, because you're taking essentially 6 players out of half of the field, so there's much more space for players to cover in the middle. We've noticed that there is a certain increase in the physical demands in the game so far.
Discipline as well. It's going to be key.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we've seen a few things where just obviously the referees now are going to really go hard on and questioning the decisions or showing any sort of dissent, which is, listen, it's probably something we can't down for now, but the punishment is pretty harsh, like 50 metres against you for the question the referee's decision. So it's going to get to the stage where it's like rugby, where the only player can speak to the referee is going to the captain. He's going to have to do it in a mild manner. The referee will have it, which maybe is not a bad thing. And long term, I think it'll clean up that part of the game, which maybe has been a bit out of hands elsewhere.
Because of the new change in the rules, obviously preparation has been completely different than any other year that you've been involved with teams.
Well, not completely different. You still have your basics that have to be done well. You still have to do your conditioning well. You still have to get the injury sorted out. You've got in prevention, your prehabilitation work done. You're ensure players are able to train and play at that level. So that's all basic physiology. Doesn't change. In terms of the skills, most of the skills of the game are the same. You're probably increasing certain skills that weren't there before, and you have to refine or adapt certain skills to fit into the new game. So there certainly are changes. Tactically, there's definitely changes because you have to focus a lot more concentration in certain aspects, which will maybe not have been have to do in the past. So I think every team is looking at it. Maybe some of the teams maybe are more used to do this, some parts of the game, but certainly I could see that there's going to be a lot of coaching done to amend practice have been in place now for most of these players would have only have experienced that. So there's certainly a change in thinking, which is the biggest thing, because you really are trying to change habits that are very much ingrained, not just the county football, but down to the club system and the school system, the college system. So it is a fair change of mindset, and it's so important that the coaches, the managers are crystal clear with the players about what's expected of them, because they can't go into the game not being sure. I think that's where we're really working hard to ensure the players have as much information as they can, but not overloaded either.
And what can Derry supporters, I suppose, watching this, what can they expect? New faces involved? There's a couple of new faces in there.
Yeah, we've brought a number of young new players onto the squad. I think that's one thing we're very determined is to use the National League this year to build a few new players. I think it's an important thing for Derry, and I think every county does the same thing anyway in the National League. It's there because you have to find out a few players that you can use later on down the year and also the championship and maybe beyond. So definitely the new players get an opportunity. I think the people come to watch the matches, well, definitely there was a big deal change the way the game's being played. But I do think that for the long term, it's going to be for the benefit of the game. I think we're seeing better football now. I know last weekend, 2 matches I watched last weekend, club football and a university game were fantastic games of football. And you come away thinking, there wasn't much wrong with us, but what we saw. But then I also saw a scoreline coming through last week from a college game was 9-5. So that sort of said the problems are still there. So if it's a 9-5 in a Sigerson Cup game, you're saying hell on stopping right. But then you see a great Sigerson Cup game in Belfast that day where 2 teams went and played. There's good open football. So I do think long term change has to happen. And it may take a little time to bed this in, but long term, I think in the realm of things, we'll see a better year.
Patience is going to be key.
Without doubt. And that's, I think that a lot of time, really we have to trust the players to make the right decisions too. I think, we can overcoach, you don't want to overcoach things either, and you don't want players to become afraid of making a mistake or not trying something. So even you being patient, you still have to be willing to take a chance and take a risk. And they could take that out of the game and become very, very bland. And I don't want to go down that lane. We have seen so far is that being too cautious in this game is really going to end up this going to be a stalemate. Now, it used to be a stalemate from 15 behind the ball, now it could be a stalemate with 11 behind the ball. So I don't know whether this is where the unintended consequence of having a 12th man up in the keeper could be a big effect on the defensive team. So it isn't really fair now 12 versus 11 and a half. So I don't know. So wee things like that have to be dealt with.
Looking forward to the opening league game.
I am. They'll be really exciting on the first night. And obviously, we talked just before, it's 2 new management teams, 2 new rules. And there'll really be a good bit of hype about this game because the first round of the league at Tyrone Derry match they've always been ripped regularly, like, and that has not over the years never changed. Like, so looking forward to it really. I'm really looking forward to seeing how these players adapt to you rules. I'm also seeing how they play them and see can then it's a test of our coaching, see how we made the changes, sufficient changes to deal with the challenges ahead.
I suppose the thing about the league as well, you will be learning from the Tyrone game. You're straight back into another game. You have little time, but you'll be tweaking between each game.
You will, and even the fact we have a couple of challenge games there, it's haven't been fantastic, but they give us some sort of data that we'll be able to analyse and learn from, and that's going to be really valuable. And these national league matches will do that. I do think there will be some strange results from the start of this league. I don't think anything goes according to plan. I just think we know that nothing's ever going to go our way in any team. We'll make mistakes, and it's going to be times where we're going to be frustrated with what's going on, but that's inevitable. So as long as we understand that, we should be able to learn from it.
Most definitely interesting times ahead.
Definitely.
Thanks a million, Paddy.
Thank you. Thanks very much.